All right, well, this is lesson 5.5. And so today we're going to talk about computing compound interest. Interest that you earn in a savings account during an interest period is added to your account. Your new balance is used for calculating the interest for the next interest period, the interest period after that, and so on. So it gets bigger and bigger with more time. Compound interest earns interest not only on the original principal, but also on the interest that you've earned during previous interest periods. Earning interest on interest, adding interest to an initial principal, thus forming a new and larger principal in the next period, is the procedure for computing compound interest. The first step in computing compound interest is to use this formula. So go ahead and write this in your notes. The amount in your account is equal to principal plus your interest. Again, the amount is the balance in the account at the end of an interest period. When you have the amount, you do a series of simple interest calculations. To find the compound interest, you find the difference between the amount in the account and the original principal. The formula for that is compound interest is equal to the amount minus your original principal. So to figure out how much interest you're getting, you take how much you have currently and subtract out your original principal. All right, we're going to walk through this example problem together so you can see how we calculate compound interest. Our buddy Jamal deposited $1,000 in a savings account that earns 6% interest compounded quarterly. There are 4 quarters in a year, just letting you know. He made no other deposits or withdrawals. What was the amount in the account at the end of 1 year? How much is the compound interest? So step 1 is to calculate the interest and the amount for each quarter. So the interest is the principal times the rate times the time. We learned that in the previous section. And then the amount is the principal plus the interest. So we're going to do this calculation for the first quarter. So the first quarter we take our $1,000, times it by the 6%, and then divide it by 4 or multiply it by 1/4. I would just go ahead and say, plan on saying divided by 4. It's easier to get in your calculator this way. And then we get that's $15. So we're going to add that $15 to our original $1,000. So our new balance is $1,000 plus $15. So that's $1,015. Now this is our new amount that's in our account. So at the end of the second quarter, we take that $1,015, we multiply it by 6%, and then divide it by 4 because we're talking about quarters. If you look, this 6% is the yearly interest, but because we're compounding it quarterly, we take 1/4 of that, or we divide by 4. And if you can't remember that, it is 4 quarters in a year. So I'm going to go ahead and get enough of the divided by 4s that we can put it in our calculation. So we definitely want to change these to divided by 4s. Okay. So we got the $1,015 times 6% divided by 4. That's $15.23 because we got to round that up to the nearest penny. So instead of just making $15, we made $15.23 because we got that extra little boost in interest. So now we add the $15.23 to our $1,015 and we get $1,030.23. We take that, multiply it by the 6%, divide it by 4, we get $15.45. So we add that $15.45 to our previous account, we get $1,045.68. So we get a little bit more than just our regular $15, so we get another little boost. So we take that 1,045 and 68 cents, times it by 6%, divide it by 4, and we get $15.69. We round to the nearest penny. So we take this amount, 1,045, 68 cents, add it to the $15.69, and we get in our account $1,061.37. Now this is the amount in our account, so that goes with here in step 1. But it says how much is just the interest. So we're going to take our $1,061.37 and subtract out what we put in originally. So in 1 year, we've made $61.37 in compound interest. Boop. So you guys are going to do that same thing here for Liz Reynolds. All right, you guys, rock through this process with me. I know it seems crazy, but just be patient. So we're going to take our $2,000 that we originally start with. So that's this amount, the 2,000. We're going to times it by 8%. Then we're going to divide it by 4. When we do that in our calculator, I'll rock through that with you. So 2,000 times 8%, my 10 key doesn't have the percent on it, divided by 4, we get $40. So for the first quarter, we've made $40. That goes back into our account right here. 2,000 plus 40 gives us our amount of $2,040. So you add those two items together, what you had in your account plus the interest. Now we have the $2,040. So we're going to take that $2,040 and we're going to do that same process again. We're going to multiply that. So 2,040, we're going to multiply that by 8% and divide it by 4. And we get $40.80. So because we added that other 40 bucks in, we get 80 cents more this time around in this quarter. So we go $40.80. Then we take that $40.80 and we add it to our previous amount. So we're going to take 480 plus 2040. And we get $2,080.80. So we're going to take that amount, $2,080.80. We're going to times it by 8% and divide it by 4. So times it by 8%, divide it by 4. Sorry, 2080. Okay. 2080.8 times 0.08 divided by 4. We get $41, and I'm going to round this right here and go 62 cents. I did not round that correctly. Let me get that rounded correctly. Okay, so that's $41.62. Now we're going to add that in to $2,080.80. So we're adding it into what we had the previous quarter. So we got 2,080.80 plus our 41.62. We get 2122.42. 2122.42. Then we take that amount. So this is what's in our account right now after the third quarter. We have one more quarter to get to 4 quarters. And so we take that 2122.42, times it by 8% like we've done before, divide it by 4. 8% is because it's this 8% here, and divided by 4 because it is 4 quarters in a year. And we get $42.45. So just so you guys can see it one more time on the calculator. $42.40, and I'm going to round that to 5 cents. That's the amount that goes in I, and then we add it to our 2122.42, and our grand total is 2164.87. That is the amount in our account after 1 year. So we put $2,000 in our account, we let it sit, and at the end of the year we have a $2,164.87, which means we have made $164.87 just in interest. So you take your amount that was in your account minus your principal, which is the starting amount, and you get your total of interest. All right, using a compound interest. All right, now we're on to 5.6. We're going to use a table to help us do this compound interest calculations because it could help us go a little bit quicker than doing all the calculations by hand. So to compute a compound interest quickly, we can use a compound interest table, which shows the amount of $1 for many interest rates and interest periods. So it gives you the amount, the rates and periods for just $1. To utilize the table, you must know the total number of interest periods and the interest rate per period. Use these formulas. So we're going to take the amount in our account is the original principal times the amount of $1 at that interest rate and period. This is from the table. So we use information. I know it's going to seem crazy because they're going to give us a lot of pieces of information. We're just going to use it to identify this guy right here to find the amount of $1 worth. Then, to find the compound interest, we take the amount that we calculated from our table minus the original principal, which is that's the same formula we used before. All right, let's see how this works in our example. All right, we got the state bank pays 6% interest, compounded quarterly, so that's 4 times a year, on regular savings account. Marta Kimona deposited $3,000 for 2 years. She made no other deposits or withdrawals, so that means it's a pretty straight up interest calculation. How much interest did Marta earn during the 2 years? Use the compound interest amount of $1 table on page A11 to solve this problem. So I'm going to pull that table so that you guys can see it. All right, so to calculate the number of interest periods, we take how many quarters there are per year, and there's 4 quarters per year, and then times it by the number of years. So that is 8. 4 quarters times 2 years is 8 interest periods. So we get interest calculated 8 times before we look at the amount again. All right, so then we need to calculate the interest rate. So we take our annual interest rate, that's the percent that they give us. So it's 6%. I'm just going to put it in just a 6 because if you look at our interest rates right here, they're still in percent, so they're not converted to decimal yet. So we got 6. And we're going to divide that by the number of interest periods per year. So it's a quarter, so we divide it by 4. So our interest rate is 1.5%. So we look We got 0.5 here, we got 1% here, we got 1.5% right here. So then we got 1.5%, we got 8 periods, we go across, and our amount for $1 is $8.43. $8.43. Anywho. So we found the amount. 8th row. 1.5%. Alrighty, I have actually got the wrong table, so let's try getting the right table here. Alright, here's the real one. So let's take a little pic of it. From A11. Alright, now we can get the correct amount. So we look at 1.5% for 8 interest periods, and we get 1.12649. So now that I have the right table, we can find the correct amount. All right. So we take that, so we make $1.13 in about an interest for if we had just $1 in that account, but we have more than $1 in that account. We have 3,000 of those dollars. So we take 3,000 times it by that amount we got from the table for $1, and at the end of our 8 interest periods, we get $3,379.47. So to find the compound interest, we take that amount, minus out our original $3,000, and in just 8 quarters or 2 years, we've made $379.47. Pretty awesome for doing nothing. It just sat in an account. All right, you guys, let's see if we can use that table. Let's pull it up here to find these interest rates for number 1 and number 2. So we've got our buddy Ed here. He invested $2,000 at 5.5% interest compounded quarterly, and that's for 2 years. So the first thing we're going to do is calculate our periods. And remember, we take the amount of years we're spending times how many quarters there are per year. In this case, it's quarters because it's compounded quarterly. It could change if it were compounded semi-annually, monthly, semi-monthly. So our N, or our periods, is equal to 8. So that's this amount right here. And then we need to calculate our interest. So that's our percentage, which for us is 5.5. And we're going to keep it as a percentage because in the table it's written as a percentage. Divide that by how many periods are in one single year. So it's 5.5% interest rate divided by 4. And that means every quarter we got 1.375. So 1.375. So that is this guy right here. So we're going to take our amount from our table. That's 1.11544. And we're going to multiply it by how much we have in our account, or how much our principal was. So we had not $1, but we had $2,000. You guys can see we go 1.11544 times the $2,000, and we get $2,230.88, but it wants to know, find the amount and the compound interest. So our compound interest is 2230.88 minus the original $2,000. I don't even need a calculator for that. That's $230.88. All right, we're going to do that one more time, except now we're going to go 3% interest compounded semi-annually. So we're going to find the period first. So that's compounded semi-annually, that's twice a year times 2 years. So that's 4 periods. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the interest rate. That's our yearly interest rate divided by the number of periods per year. Semi-annually happens twice per year, so we're going to divide by 2. So that's 3 divided by 2. We get 1.5%. So now we're going to look it up on our table. We're at 1.5%. We're at 4 interest rate periods. So if we follow that, we get 1.06136. So let me move this down so I can write. And we got 1.06136 times the amount, because this is for $1. This is the amount for just a single dollar, but we have more than $1 in there. Yay! We have $4,500 in there. So when we multiply that out, you get 1.06136 times 4,500, $4,776.12. So to find out how much interest we earn, we take the 4,776.12 and minus out the 4,500. And that's $276.12 that we have made in just 2 short years. And that's how you use the compound interest table.